You are complaining of illness as a sign that you are not happy. So no matter how much you try to remove the symptoms, you will not become happy. Even if you become happy, they will disappear. So if you remove what you have now, you will lose your chance to be happy.
Doctors often face painful experiences, sometimes leading to suicidal thoughts. I'm curious about their feelings now. It's natural to feel unforgiving, but as a doctor, how do you manage those emotions? This interests me to help manage my own feelings. We don't choose illness or accidents. They happen. We exist from birth to death, and realizing this early is beneficial. I feel fortunate to have faced such experiences, starting in 6th grade. These events.
I hope this can serve as a reference for those who are interested or unsure about how to manage their feelings. It's important to understand that we don't choose to encounter certain things in life, like illness or accidents. They come to us whether we want them or not. This is part of living from birth until death, existing in that space and time. The key question is when we realize this. Is it at 7 years old, 9 years old, or at 50 or 60? The sooner you realize it, the better off you'll be. I consider myself lucky to have faced such experiences. It all started in the 6th grade, but there were things before that too. The 6th grade was the peak of it all. Because of that, I was able to think about why I was born, why I'm living now, and why I will continue to live. Even though I didn't wish for those experiences, they happened to me. If that's the case, I have to turn those experiences into something positive for my future life. So, how do I make it positive? What does it mean to be negative? To understand this, you have to engage with society. Engaging with society means not relying on your parents for support, but earning your own way. In other words, you need to maintain your physical existence and find meaning in your life within this society. You have to grasp this concept. While I may express it in these words now, I believe the essence of it was the same even during my middle school years. If you don't grasp this, you're missing out. It's not just about economic gains and losses. It's about your life. So, I felt a strong urge to understand and grasp these ideas. Even if it means facing hardships, I think it's worth it. It's like paying for an experience. Even if you pay, you might still face bullying or challenges. But if you can learn from those experiences, it can be incredibly valuable. Since I don't know the numbers, to understand that, you have to engage with society. Engaging with society means not relying on your parents for support, but earning your own way. In other words, within the time of your life, you need to maintain your physical existence and find meaning in your life. You have to grasp this concept within society. When I put it into words like this now, it might sound different from how I would have expressed it in middle school, but I believe the essence is almost the same. If you don't grasp this, you're missing out. It's all about gains and losses. If you don't grasp it, you're at a loss. This isn't just an economic issue. It's about your life. So, the feeling of needing to grasp this became stronger for me. Even if it means facing hardships, I think it's worth it. They say that even if you pay money, you should still struggle. But even if you pay, you might still face bullying. I experienced bullying without paying, so I feel like I got quite a deal out of that. How much money do you exactly have to pay to get really bullied? It's kind of ironic, right? You're actually making a lot of money off of that. I've made money despite challenges, storing wealth and therapy knowledge mentally. Initially, I knew nothing about medicine, studied for 3 years, but didn't practice acupuncture. This led me to learn techniques and attend seminars. Excelling in class, I began lectures and practiced chiropractic early in Japan. Understanding a person's state led to muscle pneumonia testing. My unique approach focuses on brain communication, making imitation hard. I've held seminars for over 40 years, but my techniques aren't documented. My goal is to help people by reading brain information, visible on YouTube, without keeping materials. Mastering these techniques requires years of study, unlike other methods. At first I didn't know anything, so I had to learn. I went to a school for 3 years, but I don't practice acupuncture now. I hadn't done anything in medicine before, so I went to school for 3 years, but I hardly used acupuncture, and it wasn't very helpful. However, that experience motivated me to learn various techniques, so I attended many seminars. Each of those had their own techniques, and through hard work, I was able to make them my own. I was outstanding in my class, so right after graduating, I went to the main association and started giving lectures. In fact, I started my seminars while I was still a student. I began practicing chiropractic before the term chiropractic even existed in Japan, long before it became popular. Back then, there were no testing methods in the treatment industry, but I realized that if I was going to face someone, I needed to know their current information. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense. This realization came from my understanding of intellectual disabilities. I firmly believe that if there are no results, it doesn't mean anything. By spending 1 or 2 hours with someone, I could earn 4,000 to 5,000 yen, and I thought that if I could do that, I could make a living. But I didn't enter the treatment industry with that mindset. I didn't study for that reason. I was focused on learning various techniques, and I found that if you put in the effort, you can acquire those techniques. However, those techniques are mostly useless if you can't read the information of the person in front of you. That's why I developed the muscle pneumonia testing. Before that, the term muscle heat testing didn't exist. In other fields, the term muscle syndrome was introduced, and those who were using it registered the term O-ring, so I couldn't use it anymore. I started using the term muscle heat testing, but it was different from what I was doing, so I couldn't use the term muscle projection testing either, and I developed the term Doronon. Ultimately, what many people are looking for is to earn money to improve their lives, but my approach was completely different. What I found necessary for the person was only revealed through communication between our brains. That technique can only be developed in the moment when I'm facing that person, so I can't write down the treatment methods. I don't have any materials. I've been conducting seminars for over 40 years, and many people have tried to attend my seminars to steal my techniques and start their own. But in this industry, even if they attend my seminars, no one can give a lecture. In the beginning, there were techniques to teach, and some people learned them, but at a certain point, I started using brain information, so there are hardly any records outside. Even if they want to imitate, they can't. Some people have come to me trying to gather materials to steal my techniques, but in the end, they found nothing. It's all in my brain, and it only comes out when I'm facing that person. It doesn't exist before that. Because of that, no one can imitate me. I've stored everything in my brain. The reason I can do this is that I genuinely want to help the person in front of me. I understand what they are looking for, and only then do I finally switch on to do what I want to do. In that state, I can read the brain's information. The results of that reading lead to the things you see on YouTube, but I have no materials left. I throw everything away. There's no point in keeping such things. So, how can I do those things? It's through studying in this school for 1, 2, or 3 years that you finally understand what it's all about. It's completely different from other techniques. There are no treatment techniques like that at all. If there are techniques, I've made them all public. In the beginning, there were techniques that I taught, and some people learned them. However, from a certain point onward, I started using brain information, which is why there are hardly any records outside. Even if someone wants to imitate me, they can't. Some people have come to me trying to gather materials to steal my techniques, but in the end, they found nothing. It's all in my brain, and it only comes out when I'm facing that person. It doesn't exist before that. Because of this, no one can imitate me. I've stored everything in my brain. The reason I can do this is that I genuinely want to help the person in front of me. I understand what they are looking for, and only then do I finally switch on to do what I want to do. In that state, I can read the brain's information. The results of that reading lead to the things you see on YouTube, but I have no materials left. I throw everything away. There's no point in keeping such things. So, how can I do those things? It's through studying in this school for 1, 2, or 3 years that you finally understand what it's all about. It's completely different from other techniques. There are no treatment techniques like that at all. If there are techniques, I've made them all public. I'm sharing everything on YouTube, and I'll keep releasing more and more. Support activities and adjustments. But even if I make all that public, it won't be useful to everyone. So it's completely different from other treatment techniques. I was able to realize this through various experiences, which helped me grasp what I truly needed. It's all part of that journey. Because of that, I'm able to share things on YouTube as well. I really believe that experiencing misfortune going through tough times, or facing illness is truly an opportunity. If I'm already sick, why should I let it take away from me? That's just not possible. I want to make the most of it for myself. If I just go back to how things were without making the most of it, what will happen when I face another illness next time? It's better to grasp what you can from the illness you're dealing with now. Until now, I hadn't had such opportunities, and I didn't know about that way of thinking. I learned about it through my interactions with others. For example, there was a participant who didn't join yesterday, but came today. He's 70 years old, and as he mentioned, when he first came to me 2 years ago, he was hunched over at a 90-degree angle due to Parkinson's. He wanted to get better because he had plans to travel a few months later. I didn't do anything at all for him. And yet, after about 6 months of doing nothing, he started to improve. Within a year, he was completely better. I haven't done much. Mr. Seikou, when hearing my story, couldn't sit for long due to back pain. After 4 months, it wasn't as painful. I haven't done anything. Important information connects with small bits in the brain linked to happiness hormones, which help improve things. Without this connection, there's no improvement. Illness symptoms show a lack of happiness. Removing symptoms doesn't make you happy. Taking away what you have loses your chance for happiness. Reading and teaching points won't lead to improvement. You might feel better briefly, but it won't last. It's material to face yourself. Truly understanding and living your life is key. Whether it takes 5, 10, 20, 40, or 60 years, it's your choice. You have the freedom to choose. If you want 60 years, that's fine. If you want 5, that's fine too. Do it your way. This is the truth. No matter your effort, accidents can happen. Living safely doesn't guarantee anything. You never know when something might happen. Illness symptoms indicate a lack of happiness. Removing them doesn't bring happiness. Losing what you have means losing happiness. It's about facing and understanding yourself, living your life. Whether it takes 5, 10, or 60 years, it's your choice. Do it your way. No matter your efforts, accidents can happen. Living safely doesn't guarantee anything. If you're not happy now, happiness won't come. You might think you'll find happiness, but that's not true. Situations like COVID-19 can arise, restricting freedom. It's an opportunity. You might feel better, but that won't last long. It's material to help you face yourself. Unless you confront yourself, understand, and live your life, it means nothing. Whether it takes 5, 10, 20, 40, or 60 years, it's up to you. You can choose freely. Taking 60 years is fine. Taking 5 years is fine too. Do it your way. That's the truth. No matter your effort, accidents happen. You could die or get cancer. Living safely guarantees nothing. You never know when. If you can't say you're happy now, happiness won't come. You might think you'll grasp happiness, but it isn't. While saying that, COVID-19 can arise and you might be unable to go out. Before, you walked freely. Experiencing COVID-19 or such situations gives you a chance to reflect and think. It's a chance. Misfortunes can be happiness for you. Unless you make it happiness, it means nothing. Wanting happiness isn't enough unless you understand it. Finding and using true happiness is learning. If it were easy in 3 or 6 months, it wouldn't be a struggle. After 3 years, you might grasp 3% or 5%. As long as you can't say you're happy right now, happiness won't come to you. It's not just a matter of eventually grasping happiness. It's not that simple. While you're saying that, situations like COVID-19 can arise, and you might find yourself unable to go outside. Before that, you were walking freely. Experiencing something like COVID-19, or being in a situation like this, gives you a chance to reflect on yourself and think about various things. It's an opportunity. The misfortunes could be happiness. It's about happiness. You need to know true happiness. The goal is to find and use true happiness, which is learning. If it were easy to understand in months, it wouldn't be a struggle. After 3 years, you might grasp 3% or 5%. Once you grasp it, continued practice might take 2 or 3 more years to understand 20%. Its challenge makes it meaningful and valuable. I've grasped that. I understand it well. If you keep practicing, you might understand about 20% in a few years. The challenge makes it meaningful and valuable. I want to share it. Those who understand this are active worldwide. Many joined this QOL session to improve and feel better. I did nothing, yet many improved. There are opportunities to persevere. I know the value of it, and that's why I want to share it with many people and do whatever I can to help. Those who have grasped this are engaging in similar activities all over the world. They don't need to cooperate with each other. It's enough that there are many of them worldwide. There are several people who participated in this QOL session, and I believe they all want to improve a bit from their current state. Just like the seniors who participated a year ago for the same reasons, I didn't do anything at all, yet many people say they improved. Even those who came a year ago were anxious at that time, and they were in a similar situation. There are opportunities to persevere through this.
That's absolutely right, indeed.
Ultimately, it's up to you whether you want to carry it out or not.